1, 2, 1, 2.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion,
I got them in LSE.
You've got it.
Yeah, I just saw it now.
There you go.
You're good, Jim, you get it. Dealing with difficult people today. Come on, sleep, Jim.
Is it me?
No, have I put you down?
Okay.
Have I put you down?
No.
Haven't you been to check in?
No.
You're another one then, that's true.
Can I just ask, please, everyone put your phones on either silent or airplane mode? Thank you.
Good morning, welcome along to our half-day course on dealing with difficult people. So I don't know if you've been before or you're new, so hopefully for all of us we will find something from this morning that we can benefit from, that we can put into practice in our daily life. Yeah. That's what we need, isn't it? We need practical methods to begin to deal with the difficult people in our life. You know, we all have them, not just us. So though we're the ones here, everybody has difficult, challenging people in their lives. And we all work so hard to try to, I don't know, get rid of them in some way, you know, to make them change by trying to help them to see how they need to be or what they're not. But actually, if we really start to contemplate, what is a difficult person? What does that mean? Then we can start to understand more clearly how we can begin to let go of difficult people through changing our mind, through transforming and changing our view, our perspective, our attitude with regards to difficult people in our life, And that way, no matter where we go or what we do, no difficult people. Wouldn't that be amazing? So we think, well, that's going to take some work because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. But actually, when we start to look inside and start to work with our mind, we start to understand, actually it's not difficult. Actually it's quite easy. It's quite easy to let go of difficult people because we're understanding what they are. What is a difficult person? What makes someone difficult? And therefore, through that wisdom coming from inside, we can just make a shift in our mental attitude. And the difficult person disappears. Not just, disappear like that, but the difficult person, ceases to appear. Something else appears for us, So that's what we're going to look at. And we're going to be using mainly this book, How to Solve Our Human Problems, and a little bit this book, How to Understand the Mind. Okay, so these two books by Venerable Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche are books of our tradition, because Venerable Geshe is the founder of our tradition, and we're just going to use this understanding, these reasons, this wisdom, to start to see that changing or transforming our mind enables us to let go of difficult people. So my name is Gen Kelsang Latchok, and I'm the resident teacher at Uma Kadampa Meditation Centre in Carlisle. So it's lovely to be here, beautiful centre, and I have to say, I love Liverpool. Until recently I was in Manchester, and Liverpool is definitely one of my favourite cities. I worked here for a while in the mid-90s, and I really love it here. So let's begin with the liberating prayer. Then I'm going to guide us through some simple breathing meditation, and then we will start to look at these aspects. So the liberating prayer, there's the little sheets there for you if you want to follow along. What we're doing is we're understanding or starting to contemplate the qualities of the enlightened mind of someone who has transformed their mind, So maybe as you listen, you can think about these beautiful qualities. Maybe you recognize something in here that you think, oh, actually, I quite like that quality, Anyway, enjoy.
Bestow. O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish forevermore.
So now let's take a few moments to settle our mind through some simple breathing meditation. So sitting comfortably, your hands just resting in your lap, closing your eyes. Just take a few moments to make sure you're comfortable, to let go of any tension. We don't need to rush into our meditation. We just take our time to settle and relax. And to make sure we have a positive focus. So that our meditation benefits not just us, but also those around us. and start to become aware of your breath. Not controlling it, but just watching as you breathe in and out. And try to become aware of the sensation of the breath at the edge of your nostrils as the air enters and leaves. When you find this sensation, no matter how faint it might be, just try to focus on it single-pointedly as your object of meditation, the sensation of the breath at the edge of your nostril. Your attention wanders, just gently bring it back to your object of meditation, the sensation of the breath. What we should find is that as we focus on the sensation of the breath and the mental busyness reduces, naturally some experience of peace or calm arises. So just focus on the sensation of the breath and enjoy any experience of peace or calm that arises. push, just relax. Gently focus on the sensation of the breath and enjoy any experience of peace or calm. So then, as you start to come out of the meditation, try not to lose any experience of peace or calm. And then just open your eyes when you're ready. So, breathing meditation is essential for our daily life, you know? So we do so many things every day, don't we? I mean, I don't know about you, but I know for myself, how many times do I make a cup of tea in a day? And that can take me 15 minutes to do that, you know? So to take 10 or 15 minutes in your day to just stop, you know, just stop. Yeah. And, you know, feel that you can just step back a little bit, you know, from the busyness of whatever's going on. So you could be really busy and just take 10 or 15 minutes to just stop. Yeah. To not rush into meditation, because sometimes we can think 10 or 15 minutes, I've only got 10 or 15 minutes, you know. So I've got to get to my breath, got to focus on the sensation of the breath. And we become a bit like someone who is driving a car and stressed, trying to get somewhere really quickly. Have you ever done that, where you're leaning forward in the car? Because you think if you drive leaning forward in the car, you're going to get there quicker, you know. That's how we feel, don't we? It's like, get there quicker. So we can do this with meditation. We can feel like a meditation is like a job, a chore we've got to do some, I've got to relax, I've got to create some mental space, you know. So we sit down, you know, with this tense feeling, and all we do is we carry the stress and the busyness with us and make it part of our meditation. So then it starts to feel like, okay, come on, I've got to get a peaceful mind. I've got to get a peaceful mind. I've only got 5 minutes left. I must get a peaceful mind. So it doesn't work like that, does it? It doesn't work. So what we really need to do is just have confidence that through stopping, even when we're busy, just stopping, maybe sitting down, even if we're at work. You know, I used to meditate. When I first started learning about breathing meditation, I worked in a very stressful job, and I used to sit at my computer looking like I was working for 10-15 minutes and just focusing on the sensation of the breath to get some mental space to then carry on, you know. So it doesn't matter where we are, it's just stopping and just recognizing that we need mental space. That if we keep, building up the busyness and the tension, it's not helping us and it's not helping anyone else. So really, anyway, I try and encourage myself. We can do what we want. I can't convince you to do anything. But I really would encourage everyone, do this every day. Do this breathing meditation. Because once we have that mental space, a little bit of mental space, we put down the mental baggage. And hopefully we won't pick it all up again. We put it down and then we can let go of some of it. When we do this, it creates a space in our mind for something else to develop. Yeah? So if we're to develop positive, peaceful states of mind that are leading us to real happiness and are benefiting others as well, then we need this space for those qualities to develop. Without that space, what happens is that other qualities develop more easily. Negative qualities, irritation, agitation, frustration, all the shuns, frustration. These gather more easily in our mind when there's a lot of busyness in there, So if we create this mental space, it's not so easy for all of those negative, unhelpful qualities to develop and remain, So as we develop wisdom through what we're going to look at this morning, and everything you look at this centre, to develop those positive qualities, we need that mental space. Yeah? Otherwise, without it, we're just following those negative thoughts and feelings. So amazing, isn't it? I don't know what you'll take from this morning. Hope something positive, But one thing is, even if we just take from this morning, I need some mental space. I need some mental space. So of course then we don't go home and say, right, I need some mental space, so all of you lot out. Because that wouldn't make sense of what we're going to look at this morning. You're all difficult. You all stop me having mental space, so off you go. Because I need some mental space. We've got to be able to develop that mental space so that it can help us while we're with people, Imagine having mental space in the centre of Liverpool, in, I don't know, Primark. I always find Primark's one of the... So sometimes I think, okay, I can do this. I'm going in. I need a new pair of jogging bottoms. I'm going in, Can never find them because they move them. So what often happens is I'm determined. I go in. I'm in there about 5 minutes, and luckily there's another door and I'm out, But actually imagine that you could just walk around really relaxed, with feeling a spaciousness in your mind. What would that do in terms of the other people in there? When you go in there like, right, I've got to get this, I've got to get that, I need this, I need that, So straight away we walk in the door, and you don't have to wait long, do you, before someone's in your way. Someone's in the way of you getting what you want, doing what you want to do. So if we go in with that attitude, right, I need this, I need that, and it's tight and it's a busy mind. I've got 10 minutes minutes, I need this. We go in with that. Then irritation, agitation, frustration, difficult people are everywhere, they're everywhere. And we feel exhausted quite quickly, and then we're out the other door. And what are we blaming for how we feel? Was this person did this and that, and those cues, and no one ever folds anything back up, Anyway, I could go through all mine that I've been through in the past. But, we have these, this is what we leave with. So we might leave with a new pair of jogging bottoms, which we're very happy about, But we also leave with a tight, unhappy mind. Now, which is the best thing to have, The jogging bottoms or a peaceful mind? Like, peaceful mind. Because those jogging bottoms are, they're going to come and go, probably quite quickly, come and go, But our peaceful mind, if we have an agitated mind, that stays with us. And it leaves a residue, it has a knock-on effect. But if we have a peaceful mind, that stays with us. And that has that effect. And we do feel so much better when we feel we dealt with something in a much better way. So with that spaciousness in our mind, through some breathing meditation, we start to identify the frustration in our mind, the tightness in our mind, the unhappiness in our mind. And we start to say, I don't want that. And then we start to develop the wisdom of peaceful, positive states of mind. And we start to think, I want that. That's what I want. And it becomes easier to do that, And I think, I think then if we have that spaciousness in our mind and we're coming to a class, we're reading, understanding, it's not long actually before we're moving in the right direction towards a peaceful mind. Because as soon as we start to recognize getting irritated doesn't help us and doesn't help others, we start to think, well, actually, I don't want that. Then I don't want that. And now I'm starting to realize I don't have to have that. I have choice. I can choose to do something different with my mind. And even that thought makes us happy. I've got choice. I don't have to become irritated. I don't have to. If I don't want to, I can choose, Until now I thought that's just what you did. But I'm realizing I don't have to, Of course we still do, don't we? We get irritated about things, don't we? We've got to be honest. How do you deal with difficult people right now? Be honest with yourself, We have to be honest with ourselves about where we are. Otherwise we can't, I don't get irritated. And people say that to you sometimes. Oh, I don't have any anger. I remember this man who came to a class once, and I was teaching on anger, and he came at the end of the class and he said, I don't have any anger. He says, I don't have that problem. Very lucky. The next week he came back, he was a bit sheepish. He went, so after the class I went home, and he said, I made my tea. And he said, I'd spent ages making my tea, really looking forward to my tea, dropped it on the floor. He said, I saw this happen. And he was like, hang on, I'm angry. Oh, I do have anger in my mind. I just never realized or noticed it because I'd never thought about it before. So recognizing our anger is great. We don't need to think, oh no, I'm an angry person, I'm a horrible person. that's horrible, I shouldn't be like that, I shouldn't, because that's just going to lead to suppressing anger, and you definitely don't want to do that because that's worse. So we just honestly acknowledge, oh, look at that, there's irritation in my mind, there's irritation arising in my mind, there's frustration arising in my mind, but we don't identify it with it. I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm angry, because that is a bit solid and fixed. I am that, you know. We're not. You know, when we're irritated, there's just an unpleasant feeling, an unhappy feeling arising in our mind. You know, a bit of bad weather. That's what we're going to look a little bit at. Just a little bit of bad weather in our mind, with no power to cause us harm. It comes and it goes. And we just try to do damage limitation as it arises and goes, you know. But we can do that if we're acknowledging it and we're developing methods to work with it. If we're not, it probably will cause us to maybe, well, I've put some things down. How do we normally deal with difficult people? We get annoyed. We shout at them, or say something. Oh, this is an interesting word, is it? Snide remark. Oh, a snide remark, or sarcastic. You know, we think I think we've got this interesting thing where we're like, oh, sarcasm, it's funny, it's just a little, but actually, really, when we're being sarcastic, don't we a little bit mean it? No? If we check, it's interesting, but we check and we see actually there is some little, you know, feeling there, but that's okay. It's there, but it needs to go, but we need to work on it, you know. And if we haven't recognized it before, then we can, and we can start to work with it. I put slam doors. Is that the way we work with it as well? We slam doors. Sulk. We sulk. Don't speak to me. Don't speak to me. Or we call a friend and talk about them. Yeah, we call a friend. You're not going to believe what such and such just did, what they just said, how they just acted. This is how we normally, you know, deal with difficult people. You know, if we check, is this what we do? Yeah. But this isn't a lasting solution, is it? It's not. These things aren't a lasting solution. Well, you wouldn't be here if you thought they were. They're not a lasting solution because they're not getting us anywhere. Slamming a door isn't solving anything, you know. Sulking isn't solving anything. Sarcastic comments isn't solving anything, and actually is just perpetuating our experience of irritation and anger. We're just allowing it to go moment to moment. And often, actually, the worst thing is the dwelling on the unhappy thoughts, because we're growing the unpleasant feeling. And then they said this, and then they did that, and then they acted like this, and I can't believe this, da, 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 da. And it's just growing, and the unpleasant feeling in our mind is getting worse. So we need to investigate, so I've written here, what makes someone a difficult person? So that's our focus this morning. What makes someone a difficult person? If we're going to deal with difficult people, what makes someone a difficult person? Because if we know what makes them a difficult person, we know what to do to get rid of the difficult person. Now, the way we're trying to get rid of difficult people at the moment isn't working, you know, because you get rid of one and another one appears. You know, I changed countries. I moved to America to get rid of a difficult person. It wasn't a major difficult. It was just I worked in a job and I had a difficult relationship with someone at work. And I slowly decided I was going to move to America, go and work in America. So I did. I got a job in America, moved over there. Guess what? there they were. There they were at my new job. You know, they looked different, but exactly the same situation that I found annoying. Now that's where I started looking at meditation and Buddhist teaching. It's like, hang on a minute. Why are they still appearing? Yeah. Why are they still there? Why does it feel like the same situation and the same person? You know? So we can keep trying to get rid of difficult people in the way we have, but yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah. So the question, what makes someone a difficult person? Yeah. What makes them a difficult person? Yeah. So anger, so in How to Solve Our Human Problems, it says anger is a response to unhappy feelings which arise when we don't get what we want or have to put up with things we don't want. So when we don't get what we want, have to put up with things that we don't want, we become unhappy. Every time. If you check, so we can check in our own experience, every time you will become unhappy. You know, walk into the supermarket, and they haven't got what you're looking for, and you need it, you really need it. You can start to tell an unpleasant feeling, an unhappy feeling. Maybe not strong, maybe that's not maybe on another day it is really strong, but, or, someone's left their trolley in the middle of the aisle, or someone has taken the item that you want and it was the last one. It's like our mind can become unhappy. Now if we dwell on those unhappy thoughts, we start to learn, they knew I wanted that. They knew. They took it on purpose. I bet they don't even want that. They knew I wanted it. Look at them, I can see the way they're looking at me. Probably looking at us because they think, why are they looking at me like that? We create this whole world based upon something incredible. It can be so real and solid, We create this world. So we dwell on unhappy thoughts and we can't stop anger from arising because of that. Yeah. So this is amazing, isn't it? That we can start to recognize this. In any situation where we are identifying someone as difficult, we can understand that what is happening is that we're not getting what we want or having to put up with something we don't want. Because if that were not the case, we would not see them as difficult. Them being difficult necessarily means we don't like them. And we don't like them because they don't fit with what we want or what we think things should be. Yeah. We're starting to see, aren't we? So back to the question, what makes someone a difficult person? How we relate to them. How we relate to them. That's what makes someone a difficult person. So we think the difficult person is out there and we're just meeting them. Yeah. But Buddha teaches actually it is the anger or irritation already in our mind that makes that person difficult. Because we're not getting what we want, having to put up with what we don't want, and therefore unhappy feeling is arising. We're dwelling on that, and irritation is arising, and there's a difficult person right there. So then we start to understand through this wisdom, we can let go of difficult people. If who someone is depends upon how I view them, my perspective, my point of view, I can change that point of view. You know those, I don't know if this is a good example, but I find this amazing. You know those art installations, maybe they've got one down at the Tate. I used to love to go in there. Those art installations where you look at something from a certain point of view. I think I saw one recently. It was like you were looking at it, and it was, I think it was a giraffe. You know, it's this installation of a giraffe, 3D. Oh, it's a giraffe. And then you just moved to one side, so you had the side view, and it was an elephant. And it was completely different. It was a giraffe, moved to the side. It's an elephant. And you ever done that where you walk backwards and forwards a bit? Because you think, come on, it can't be so different. Or those ones on the floor that look like you can't walk on it because you're going to fall down. But actually it's just drawn. But it's just so, feels so, real, yeah. But anyway, I think I've gone off because I'm doing the one with a different point of view. But when you change your point of view, things look different. This is what I'm trying to get at. When we change our point of view or our perspective on a person, that person changes. That's why someone you love within an instant can go from being, you really love them and think, oh, we're always going to be close, to being irritated with them and never wanting to see them again. Just like that, And then in 5 minutes it can turn back again. But for as long as we have that view, it feels real and solid. I love this person. I never want to be separated from them. I hate this person. I never want to see them again. It feels solid. And then 5 minutes later, oh, I love them again. I want to, It just, but for the time it's each of those, that one feels solid, that one feels solid, that one feels solid. And that's how we relate to it, as if it's like that, So what we need to understand is, it isn't, things aren't like that. Things are constantly changing, constantly changing. So this means that we have choice. If we choose to change our mind and change our point of view and perspective, then we can get rid of difficult people. Yeah? A difficult person is just a person that I'm identifying as difficult because I'm not getting what I want or having to put up with what I don't want. So I can do something about that. I can change my mind, okay? So in How to Understand the Mind, I'm just going to read this. It says, the defining characteristics of an object do not exist from the side of the object, but are merely imputed by the mind that apprehends them. We know that when our mind is impure, because we are feeling angry with our friend, we see them as bad. So remember that's that one point of view. But when our mind is pure, because we are feeling affectionate love for the same friend, we see them as good. So we know that. Okay? Therefore, it is because of changing our own mind from pure to impure, or from impure to pure, that for us our friend changes from good to bad, or from bad to good. This indicates that everything that is good, bad, or neutral for us is a projection of our mind and has no existence outside our mind. That's the one that's not easy, but that will come through the wisdom of seeing this. So it's a projection of our mind. Our mind is projecting difficult person. So we can project something different. projecting enemy. I know that's a strong word, but when we don't like someone, they are really, you know. But we can change that. We can change how we view someone. And if we do that, difficult person, gone. In an instant. You know, we didn't have to do all the hard work of trying to convince them they're wrong and we're right. You know, trying to get them to do something that they don't do, you know. So I remember there was another time that a lady told me about when she used to go home from class in the evening, and she said, I've been at class an hour and a half. I get home at 9:15 in the evening, and she said my partner would be sat in the living room watching the telly, and all the washing up would still be there in the kitchen. It's every week. And she said, I'd go in, I'd look straight in the kitchen, see it wasn't done, become unhappy, get irritated, go straight in the living room and just have a go at them about it, become angry with them. And she said it just kept happening. And then she said 1 week, you know, 1 week, she said, I walked in the house and I saw the washing up hadn't been done. And she said, nothing happened. Nothing happened. She said, it was like, oh well, can't be bothered anymore, to be honest. She said, it's almost like there was something in her mind, yeah, okay. And she said, I went into the living room and I just said, hi, had a good evening. You know, my partner said, oh, how was your class? Da, 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 da. And we talked for a little bit. And then she said, my partner said, oh, I haven't done the washing up, I'll just go and do that now. She said she'd always end up doing the washing up, banging everything around. We know that, banging everything around, getting irritated. But actually, she said she realised that it was her mind, and she said she couldn't believe it. There he was doing the washing up. And so it's interesting to think if we change our mind, things will change. You know, trying to fight against or being in conflict with life's difficulties or other people isn't going to work. It doesn't give us the space or clarity in our mind to see what's really going on. You know, what's really going on. So what we actually need is patient acceptance. This is the first quality, you know, that I want us a little bit to focus on and meditate on. You know, patient acceptance, accepting things as they are. So to be patient means to welcome wholeheartedly, so I feel like I should go like that, welcome wholeheartedly whatever arises in that moment, whatever arises, having given up the idea that things should be other than what they are. Oh, beautiful. To be patient means, so I think even if we just say it to ourselves when we're with a difficult person, you know, to be patient means to welcome wholeheartedly whatever arises, having given up the idea that things should be other than what they are. So that's acceptance. So anger is the opposite. It's non-accept. We're not accepting things as they are. We're not welcoming. We're pushing and not accepting. And it's painful. But to just welcome wholeheartedly, because it is what's happening. So I'm going to give you an example. You're stuck in traffic. You know, you're stuck in traffic. So you could be in a car, you might be in a queue, I don't know, but you're stuck in some kind of traffic, okay? So when we become irritated, it's because we don't want to be in that traffic. We're not getting what we want, having to put up with something we don't want. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I want right now. So we start to dwell on that. Roadworks, other people, they're trying to push in, you know, da 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 da. We start to focus on other people from that point of view. We dwell on those unhappy thoughts, and everyone else feels difficult. Everything feels difficult, and we're angry. You know, that's non-acceptance. We're not accepting things as they are. However, guess what? They're still how they are. We're still in traffic. No matter how irritated we are, how horrible we think everyone is, we're still sat there in traffic. But now we're miserable. We're miserable. And we want everyone else to be miserable too, don't we? We want everyone else to be miserable because I'm miserable, you know. So anger solves nothing. Anger solves nothing. It just makes things worse, you know. It's got to go, anger in this world. You know, through wisdom, we've got to get rid of anger. So accepting we're stuck in traffic, it's just how it is. What happens then? Okay, traffic, well, there's nothing I can do, you know. It's how it is. I know I'm supposed to be somewhere else, but I have to accept this is where I am, you know. So then we sort of relax a little bit. It's like, well, it's how it is. So then maybe something else comes up from us. But I know for myself once it happened, and then I suddenly realised, oh, I'm not the only one stuck in traffic. And I looked beside me, and there was someone stuck in traffic with 2 young children. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm better off. For them, much more difficult, trying to keep young children entertained. You know, you start to think, actually, all these people are stuck in traffic. You know, so our mind changes if we accept how it is. You know, just accept. So, in How to Transform Your Life, there's this beautiful section that I love, and I think a lot of people do, where we start to understand that when unpleasant feelings arise in our mind, which if we dwell on become anger, when unpleasant feelings arise in our mind, it's just a little bit of bad weather, okay, with no power to destroy our mind, you know. So it explains, just as there is space in the vast sky for a thunderstorm, so there is space in our mind for a few unpleasant feelings. And just as a thunderstorm cannot destroy the sky, so a few unpleasant feelings in our mind cannot harm us, you know. So when the unpleasant feeling arises, so maybe stuck in traffic, and you can recognize that, oh no. At that moment it's like, oh, hang on. Rather than focusing outside, I've got to focus on that now. There's an unpleasant feeling arising in my mind. Okay? So I need to accept things as they are. Yeah? Stop trying to think they should be different. Stop trying to see them as different. Just accept this is how it is in this moment. So then what we need to do, there's 4 points that we're now going to spend a little bit of time just meditating a little bit on. There are 4 points to follow, okay, in that situation. Point 1, don't panic. Don't panic. Okay? Point 1, don't panic. So when unpleasant feelings arise in your mind, don't panic. What happens if you panic? You know, yeah. It just, you know, really focus in. So don't panic. Okay, unpleasant feeling. Okay, I need to relax. Yeah. Unpleasant feeling. Don't panic. accept. Yeah? Accept fully. Welcome whatever's arising. Yeah, just accept. It's just how it is in this moment, you know. In this moment, it can't be any different. You know, at one time, when I lived at Manjushri Centre, our main centre, one time I was frustrated about something and I went for a walk in the woods. And I walked and I walked and I walked and I tried to work it out. I should say this, I should do this, I should do that, da-da-da-da, 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 getting more and more wound up. And then I got back and I was just about to come out of the woods and it suddenly hit me. It's just how it is. This is just how it is. And it was like, oh, and I laughed. Oh, it's just how it is. There's nothing to try and sort out because it's just at this moment, this is how it is. And that's okay, you know, that's okay. So don't panic, accept. What that does, those 2 points, not panicking and accepting, gives you some mental space. You've got your mental space to then be able to do the next step. If you're panicking or you're not accepting, you cannot do the third step. It's not possible because your mind's tight and you're going off in all kinds of directions. Yeah? So the third point is investigate. Inside, investigate the unpleasant feeling that's arising. Then you can really start coming because I'm not getting what I want. I'm having to put up with something I don't want. It's coming from inside. Inside. The problem isn't outside. The problem, my problem is inside. It's this unpleasant feeling. So we're investigating the unpleasant feeling in our mind. Yeah? And then when we investigate, oh, you know what I've done? That's the fourth step. I've missed the third step. I'm going to have to go back. Don't we do that? You know, we do that all the time. It was like jump. It's like, I want to get to the last bit. So I jumped. Don't panic. Accept. Experience the unpleasant feeling in your mind. Allow it in your mind. And that's the whole point is, if you're not accepting and you're panicking, you cannot experience it. You won't allow yourself to, because you've just got to get rid of it, you know. But if you have the space to experience the unpleasant feeling, then you can investigate it. And you will start to see that it is just arising within your own mind. Yeah. And actually then you'll start to reckon it's just karma. It's just a residue, you know, in your mind arising. And actually it will start to dissipate. It will just start to dissolve. And if you keep doing this, eventually you never have to experience it again. It will stop. That difficult person will cease. No matter how much you try to solve it externally, it won't happen, but internally. Don't panic. Accept. Experience. Investigate. These 4 points, you know. And these are explained on page 42 to 43 in How to Solve Our Human Problems. You know, take time with that section because I think it's what can save this world. You know, this wisdom of Buddha's teachings. You know, this power in our mind. Got to stop fighting each other, and we've got to stop fighting within ourselves. We need this space in our mind, and then we need to experience unpleasant feelings. Not when we're not accepting, when we're panicking, the unpleasant feelings are too big. Yeah, when we're not panicking, and we're accepting the unpleasant feeling is okay to then experience, you know. And then we can start to see, oh, it's just a little bit of bad weather in my mind. Just a little bit of bad weather. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to push and pull. I'm going to let it go. Yeah. So just start with small things. Okay? So let's just spend 10 minutes. So it's our practice. So please spend these 10 minutes making your own determination to begin to put these methods into practice, to begin to understand that what makes someone a difficult person is what our mind is doing, and that we want to change that. I want to change that, okay? So sitting comfortably and closing our eyes. So again, there's no rush. Just relax. So when we don't get what we want, or we have to put up with something we don't want, our mind becomes unhappy. Unpleasant feelings arise. If we dwell on these unpleasant feelings, unhappy thoughts, anger arises. So what makes someone a difficult person is when we're not getting what we want, or having to put up with something we don't want in respect to that person. So patient acceptance is a mind that welcomes wholeheartedly whatever arises, having given up the idea that things should be other than what they are. So when unpleasant feelings arise in our mind, there's no need to panic. We can accept them, experience them, and investigate their nature and where they come from. We'll start to understand that they're arising from within our own mind. Just a little bit of bad weather with no power to destroy our mind. We can just let the unpleasant feelings go. So just contemplate this a little bit in your own experience and make your own decision, determination, not to dwell on unhappy thoughts, not to panic, to accept unpleasant feelings, experience them, and investigate their nature and where they come from, so that you can let them go. This is what I want to do, we can think. So contemplate and make this decision in your heart and hold it, mix your mind with your decision not to dwell on unhappy thoughts, to accept unpleasant feeling. then as you start to come out of your meditation, try not to lose any beneficial determination, decision in your heart, but carry it with you into the meditation break, and then open your eyes. So we're going to take a break now until 12 o'clock, and then we're going to come back and look at the second half of what we're going to contemplate. Okay, thank you very much.